Welcome to In the Zoom Where It Happens with our hosts, Katie Vivas and Brandon Krekel.
Morning, I'm Katie Vivas.
And I'm Brandon Krekel.
And today in the Zoom with us, we have Amos King, the CEO of Binary Noggin. Welcome, Amos.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Of course.
Yeah, thanks for coming, fellow Ginger. I'm going to bring that up again.
Yes.
Sorry, Katie. So what do you got for me today, Brandon?
We've got a couple very, very hard questions for you. I hope you studied well. It's all about Amos, all about Binary Noggin.
I don't know if I can handle it all being about me, but we'll see.
Well, let's just jump right in. And we're the KC Chamber, so I like to start off this thing with the question of why did you come to Kansas City? What brought you here? And why do you love it so much?
I should grab this picture that I have over on a desk, but that'll be out of the way. So we moved here 2 years ago, almost. I guess this was our third Christmas that we've had here. We have my wife's sister lived here in Kansas City, and my oldest daughter goes to school at Benedictine College. And we had always talked about moving whenever she graduated high school. We lived in Central Missouri, and we happened to follow her up here on accident. So that's always fun. I thought she was going to hate it, but I think she likes it because we're just far enough away that we don't show up unannounced, but just close enough that she can show up unannounced and usually asks for food. So that's been wonderful. Kansas City, the people that I've met have been amazing. And that was part of moving here. And no lie, part of moving here was also because of Google Fiber. So we write software, and we lived in the middle of the woods before, and I missed fast internet. So I wanted to make sure that we had it. So that was part of what brought us here. And then I guess the people have kept us wanting to stay.
Chamber people, right?
That's right. Well, all the redheads that I've met have been pretty fantastic.
I've yet to meet a redhead I don't like, so it works.
Oh, I like Katie too.
Yes,
she's pretty nice.
Thank you. So Amos, Binary Noggin, that's a pretty interesting business name. How did you come up with that? What is that? How does it fit into what it is that you do?
Yeah, so it's born out of a few things. So we write custom software for companies all over the world, from 5-person startups to large clients like Toyota. And really, in how we work is we work a lot in what we call pair programming, where you have two developers working on a task together. So Binary Noggin, binary is how 0 and 1, how computers work, but also it's two, and then Noggin is heads. So it's two heads, like two heads are better than one. And that's where the name really comes from. And I think that goes with working with clients too, is when you bring in somebody from the outside, they have their own ideas, and you have your own ideas, and working together, you usually come up with a better idea than either of you could have had alone, and reduce errors that happen also, so that ultimately, although two people being together seems like it would be more costly, it ends up saving money in the long run, and building much better products, because you have, two heads are better than one.
I like it.
Exactly.
So smart all the way around.
Which is why we have this podcast with two people, two heads, better than just one host, right?
That's
Katie?
right.
Yeah, that's why they bring me along.
You got the smart host, and then you have the ginger.
And then we have Brandon.
The sun is blinding me right now.
Since we gave her a hard time about the hair, I had to spin it around a little bit.
Okay.
Thank you, Amos. Equal opportunities here.
This is fun.
This is good.
I love it. Well, thanks for that, Amos. And so we're in 2021 right now. Whether that's exciting or not so far, let you decide. But so what's your goal for 2021? What's Binary Noggin's goal? What are maybe some challenges as well that you're looking at?
So we just met one. We had a new person start yesterday. So that's another big thing since moving to Kansas City, is when we moved to Kansas City, it was the business was my wife and myself. And now being 2 interns, there are 7 of us. So that's been pretty nice. So part of what I want to do this year is we want to expand a little. Like we don't want to grow really fast because we have a culture that we're trying to build and a quality that we're trying to build. So it's not just running after more teams so that we can have more clients. It's making sure that we are building these teams in positive ways that can be helpful for our clients. We would love to find a client here in Kansas City. I've never had a client in Kansas City. So having someone local and being able to work side by side, barring COVID, being able to work side by side would be really amazing. So this year I really want to bring in a few junior developers too and start training them up, and then also finding ways to give back in the community. And hopefully there's a lot of interest in becoming a developer out there because there's a lot of jobs in software development, and there's some local companies that help. They have like a fast track to a development job, and I would like to get involved with some of them in a mentoring capacity. And then both of our interns are from Benedictine College, but I would like to be able to get involved with some other colleges and maybe do mentoring or come in and talk to students about what the career looks like whenever you get out, because it's not always the same as it is in the academics.
Yeah. So quick question, kind of discussing the, students that are in school right now for development. How has COVID and so much going virtual and the importance being put on, everything being on the internet and all of that, how is that impacting development jobs and the need for developers and, all of that within schools and then getting out into the real world and in a career?
So like the hard thing is, again, I'm going to go back to like the 2 heads thing, is working in groups, no matter whether you're in school or at a company is a necessity. Like you have to, when you get out of school, know how to work as a team. Even if you're not working directly side by side. Whoa, Katie's light just changed. So it was awesome. So that what I've found is that it's really easy to work as a team in person. So those new skills of being able to work remote as a team is really important. And I think it will continue to be important after COVID goes out. So learning to communicate without a lot of pronouns, because in text is hard. So learning to convey your emotions in text, making sure that you have face-to-face communication. You can blur out your background or whatever, but every once in a while you should definitely be, if you're working on a team, have face-to-face communication. And that seems to be lost in a lot of the student work now that they're separated. The professors are not assigning things that are group projects as often anymore because they're finding it's a little harder for students to get together. And so figuring out that support group that you can work with and focus with, even if your professor's not assigning things as a group, find other ways to work as a team. And I think that even after COVID's gone, so many companies have learned that they can work not in the same building. There's a lot of real estate out there that's being paid for that nobody's sitting in. And I think some companies they're going to want to bring people back, and other companies are going to say, hey, we don't have to make this payment anymore because we're finding out that we can actually work well from home. So I think those skills of communicating remotely and being a team remotely are going to be really important as the future moves forward.
Yeah, it's been a big part of the chamber as well. We've all been, remote, but how do we continue working together and communicating? That's been a key word, I think, for a lot of people over these last couple months. And it sounds like communication and trust are important to you. How do you weave that into your culture at Binary Noggin?
We have a policy of always being honest, even when it's hard. And I think that is one thing that helps at least build the trust, but that only takes you so far. It's hard to, you have to build trust in other ways. Just saying that you're going to be honest doesn't make you necessarily feel comfortable telling somebody your opinions. So other things is every Thursday we have what we call Noggin Day, which is a day for our people to just explore and do their own thing. We don't do client work that day. They get to work on open source software projects, or we have a guy that is currently writing a Game Boy emulator because he wants to. He's amazing. His name's Connor. And so every other week for the end of the day, we have we call it a Noggin Day celebration, where people just kind of demo what they've been working on. And then on off weeks from that, we've started having just a hangout day. We still have the Noggin Day, but at the end of the day, instead of doing like a show and tell, we just hang out and talk to each other. We've played Jackbox games. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. Yeah, we play those together. Usually trivia ones work pretty well. There's some of those games that are still hard when you're remote, like when you have to raise your hand or point at somebody and you're like, well, there's Brandon on my screen, but maybe not on someone else's. Yeah. So then you just got to do this. So that's worked really well. And then just trying to take time to one-on-one sometimes, just ask somebody how they're doing. And whenever you're asking, don't just ask hoping that they say I'm good and move on. And even if they say I'm good, say, oh yeah, really? Why are you good? What's happened lately? And take a real interest, take the time to take a real interest in them. And it's easy to forget to do that when somebody's remote. For a while, I'm going to bring up Connor again. Connor was on a separate project from everybody else at the company. And there was a pretty good length of time when I was working on election software too, which was really busy in November and December. And I did not reach out to Connor as much as I think that I should have. And I felt very distanced from Connor, even in that short period of time. So making sure that you're reaching out to people that you're not even seeing day to day in ways that are more than surface level, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And I love hearing that you're doing that with your team, hearing the the connectivity. That's always makes everybody feel valued and welcome. And that's partly why we wanted to get going within the Zoom and letting our members know even that we are here and we want to know about you and we care about you. So I love that we're all kind of on the same page with that. So totally random, but shifting gears completely, we have heard that you spent some time living on a submarine. So we want to know a little bit about why and how was it?
Yeah. So I don't even know what year that was. It's been a long time. I worked for another company from St. Louis, and we wrote some secure chat software that the military could use. Don't know if they're using it, have no idea. But testing it, I used to be in the Air Force, so I had a pretty high security clearance. I did communications work, so I was one of the only people at the company who had the right security clearance to go. I was no longer on the project for the chat software. I'd worked on it for 2 years, I think, but I had been moved on to another project. But they called me back and said, hey, we need somebody to go get on a submarine for 3 weeks from Jacksonville, Florida to Groton, Connecticut. And I was like, okay, I'm like the only person who can get on there right now. So fine, I'll go. And it was pretty neat. It was a lot of fun. It's not like in movies like Hunt for Red October, where they're like ducking between portholes. It's not really like that anymore. I don't know if it ever was. They're a little bigger. You don't get much personal space on a submarine. I mean, you have like 100 people in a thing that's shorter than a football field, and maybe like a typical hallway in a house, maybe like 4 wide. So you're pretty cramped. You're bed is a mattress that's about 3 or 4 inches thick. And then you have a space below your mattress that's about 3 or 4 inches. And that's all the storage space that you have. You lift up your mattress and you put things underneath there, and you have to have your clothes. And then I had to have 2 laptops while I was on there to do testing. And so I couldn't even fit my laptop in my storage space. So I slept with my laptop on top of my feet every night. And there's 4 beds stacked on top of each other. So like the other person is inches from your face the whole time. You can't really sit up. Sometimes I would work in my bunk and I couldn't open the laptop all the way, which is fine because my laptop was up in front of my face and I'd be sitting here typing like this because they would be doing exercises and I needed to be out of the way.
Sounds comfortable.
Yeah. At the end of 3 weeks though, you have somebody with my skin complexion and I'm begging for sunlight. But out in the middle of the ocean, I got to get on top of the submarine at one point, and there were dolphins jumping right in front of the submarine, going right along with us. We did some really neat stuff and got to see the engine room and eat good food. They eat really well on a submarine, at least for the first 3 weeks. I've been told that after they're out there for a while, they start to eat beans and whatever's left over in the kitchen. You just get to a point where like, we got beans and rice left. We had a lot of Snickers bars on there. I think I got strep throat.
That is fantastic. I could ask a zillion questions about submarine life for days, but since we're
one
short,
thing.
Yeah, hit us.
So I always thought torpedoes were like the size of my desk, were like these little bitty bubbly things that just shot up. No, they're like 2 stories tall. These gigantic things. They look like what you would think would come out of a missile silo. That was really interesting to me.
You're not sharing like classified information with us, are you? Like, do we need a disclaimer on this?
I was never told that it was classified.
Perfect.
Gonna get shut down after this. Awesome. That's so cool.
Anything I was told not to talk about, I promise you I have not talked about.
Disclaimer. We'll put a disclaimer at the bottom. Awesome. Well, Amos, we've got time for one more question. Like Katie said, we could go all day, I think, and just talk and ask questions about living on a submarine. So besides living on a submarine, besides being an awesome ginger, what is one thing that you want the Kansas City community to know about you and Binary Noggin?
We're here to talk about your projects and anything. We're willing to just sit down and talk and discuss with you and even help people find other software companies if we're not the best for them. But we are the best. So, I don't mean to be too cocky here. I personally and our crew, we like meeting people and getting to know people. So as things open up, if people just want to go grab coffee, I love coffee. Let's go have a coffee and a talk. That's like really why we do what we do, is because we want to meet people and we want to see people successful. So come share your successes with us. We'd love to hear about them.
That's fantastic. Amos, it has been a pleasure talking with you this morning and hearing about the growth of Binary Noggin, your continued support of the Kansas City community and the Kansas City Chamber. We greatly appreciate you and all that you're doing, and we're here to support you any way that we can. Thank you for your service in the Air Force. That was a new fun fact that I did not know about you. We appreciate it. And thanks for all you do. So have a wonderful rest of your day. Congrats on all that's happening and good luck with 2021.
Thank you, Katie and Brandon. Have a great day.
Of course.
Thanks, Amos.